my father, Aswad Ayinde, and Diddy, at the time known as Puff Daddy, in the late 90s. Yeah, they crossed paths. Of course they crossed paths. Hey. So, Diddy. Ooh, my girls have been pressuring me to talk about Diddy. I'm sure you've all seen everything going on in the news, the indictment, trafficking, sexual abuse, sexual assault, all of that stuff. Of course, considering the fact that my father was a music video director. Yes, I don't usually speak about the celebrities that myself and my family has crossed paths with unless it is pertinent to a point that I'm making to raise awareness and give perspective. So that's why I've not spoken too much on the whole Diddy situation, because yes, my father, Aswad Ayinde, and Diddy, at the time known as Puff Daddy, in the late 90s, yeah, they crossed paths. Of course they crossed paths. I believe my father even went to one of his parties. I don't know if the freak offs had started by then, but I do remember it was an all-white party, and my dad was so excited to go, and just was psyched about getting the acknowledgement. They've had meetings, talked about projects, and I've not really spoken about that because, like I said before, unless the association is pertinent to a point or perspective that I'm trying to clarify when it comes to the sexual exploitation of those who are vulnerable, women, children. I don't speak about it. I mean, trust me, I have all types of stories that pertain to very well-known names because that's who my father interacted with. But I just don't get into it unless it's relative to the message that I'm sending to uplifting other people and to exposing predators and bringing attention to these issues. The reason why I'm going to kind of address it, not too much more than what I have already mentioned, as far as my father having meetings or telephone conferences and going to one of his parties, it's this energy, right? Now, clearly, my father was a sexual deviant, and R. Kelly was a sexual deviant, and it is proving that Diddy was a sexual deviant. And I met him in person, and he was just scary. It was just like this dark force, scary. And even though I enjoyed the music that he quote unquote produced, because, you know, of course, rumors were flying around back then that he was just stealing people's work and buying people's productions for very, very, very low cost and then slapping his name on it. Aside from enjoying his music, I always thought he was creepy. And I think that it was because I was just picking up the energy. And then, of course, anyone that directly associated with my father, who was a sexual deviant and a pedophile and a rapist, was just questionable to me, especially men, if they got along really, really well. And just being aware of the energy of a person and following your intuition. I think that was my experience. I worked at a restaurant called Boulay Bakery in Manhattan, and when he was dating Jennifer Lopez, he had come into the sister restaurant, which was called Danube, and I ran into him coming out, and it was just like, honestly, the energy was a lot like my dad. So I am not surprised. I'm not surprised that all of this stuff is coming out, because there was just this, I don't know, this vibe, this darkness that comes along with people who violate and exploit others sexually for their own gains, to get their rocks off, to get their kicks, to bust a nut. So I would recommend that everybody just be more in tune to their intuition. And even I remember I had started following Diddy on Instagram, and then I changed my mind. So I'm like, God, this dude is really creepy. But again, I think all of this speaks to just recognizing the red flags, even if it is only through energy. Those who can clearly zoom in on the vulnerabilities of other people and exploit it for their own gain and benefit. So that's my 2 cents. I don't really have much else to say except, clearly, I don't know, it's looking more and more like, it's not that I don't know. I mean, who names their self Diddy? I always thought that was weird. Diddy, diddle. I just thought that was weird. But that's my 2 cents. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. What is done in the darkness shall come out into the light. And that is what's happening now. So y'all be safe out there. Be blessed, for you are a blessing. Bye.